بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد يقول الله تبارك وتعالى بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون صدق الله العلي العظيم وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الصيام جنة أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, today will be the first session of our Ramadan Tarawih reflections, inshallah. We will be reading and going through a few points every day in each session, inshallah, regarding the juz or the portions that are usually recited by the Imam in Tarawih Salah at night. So whatever portion usually, to finish in 27 days, the Imam recites one juz and a quarter. So we'll be doing it in that fashion as well. And we'll try to complete the whole Quran, inshallah, throughout this month. However, I know that we are 2 days late. So we will have to do some catching up. And inshallah, we will do that by making some sessions. We connect some sessions with the next. And inshallah, because many stories, they repeat themselves, and maybe I would have mentioned that before, so we'll kind of work it out like that, inshallah. So the first juz, it starts with Surah Al-Fatiha. Now obviously there's a question, was Surah Fatiha the first surah to be revealed, the first ayahs to be revealed or not? The answer to that is that the first ayah was revealed in Ghar Hira, in the cave of Hira, was اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم. We know the famous story. Rasulullah ﷺ was in the cave, he came down and he went to see Khadija al-Kubra radiallahu anha. She took him to Waraqa ibn Nawfal, and Waraqa ibn Nawfal informed him that this sounds to be like the same angel, the same being that came to Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam. So that's the first verse. Those are the first verses that was revealed. However, Surah Fatiha happens to be the first surah in its complete form, because every surah, they came sometimes part of the surah, sometimes the full surah, sometimes ayat of the surah. It came down in a sequence, and then it was not always the same. The sequence wasn't the same all the time. However, Surah Al-Fatiha happens to be the surah that was fully revealed, the surah that was revealed completely at once. So that was the first surah that was revealed as a whole. Now in Surah Al-Fatiha, what is Surah Al-Fatiha? Surah Al-Fatiha essentially is dua. At first we're praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're saying Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In the hadith of Sahih Muslim, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that when we say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, there's a response from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Hamidani Abdi, that my slave has praised me. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Majjadani Abdi, my slave glorified me. Malik Yawmiddin, Athna alayhi Abdi, again, my slave, my servant is praising me, he's speaking high of me. And then, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, in this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies that this is half and half between me and my slave. So, and eventually, because we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Iyaka nasta'in, that we ask from Allah, we seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and no one else. So therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Wali abdi ma sa'al, that and for my slave whatever he's asking for. And then the rest of the dua goes on, that اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين, that Allah guide us to the right path, the righteous path, keep us on the straight path, and the path that you have kept the previous people, and by them it's meant من الصديقين والشهداء والصالحين, and then the prophets, the truthful people, the salihin, and so on and so forth. And this is a complete dua. And actually, after Surah Fatiha comes Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah is actually the reply to the dua that was made in Surah Al-Fatiha. Surah Al-Baqarah, it's in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the Quran is a guide for people who revere and respect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, the Quran may be of no use to those who have no desire for guidance and direction. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ مُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So this is for people who want guidance. If somebody does not want guidance, this is not for them. And such people will be deprived of its illumination and shall remain deaf, dumb, and blind. صُمٌّ بُكْمٌ عُمْيٌ فَهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. This is mentioned in this chapter. And in Surah Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invokes man to believe in the unseen, in something that we don't see. This is our faith, that we don't see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We did not see the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. We do not see Jannah or Jahannam. We do not see the angels. We did not see the day of judgment. We don't know. We don't see these things, yet we believe in this thing. This is what makes us faithful. This is what makes us mu'mineen. This is the definition of it, that we believe in the unseen. يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to establish salah and then to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from what has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided us already. So of course, we have whatever we have been blessed with, we are also encouraged to spend that in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the people of poor and needy, so on and so forth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the details of Iman are described as belief in the Quran, belief in all the prophets and the previously revealed divine scriptures, and conviction in the hereafter. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also warns people against hypocrisy, warns the kuffar about the punishment of Jahannam, while also conveying the glad tidings of Jannah to the mu'mineen. It is in this part of Surah Baqarah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the creation of Hadrat Adam alayhi salatu wassalam and his appointment as Allah's viceroy on earth. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala discusses the hypocrites. Now, who are the hypocrites? What are the qualities and the signs of a hypocrite? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions. See, every time there's something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will touch on something in the Quran. He will, give us an indication of something in the Quran, and then this will be further explained by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith, in the prophetic traditions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives us the explanation of who is a munafiq and who is a hypocrite. What are the signs of hypocrisy? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, ayatul munafiqina thalatha, that there are three signs of a hypocrite. إذا حدث كذب وإذا وعد أخلف وإذا اؤتمن خان. That when they speak lie, and when they take oath, and they make promises and they break their promises, and when they're entrusted with a trust, when they are given some kind of trust, somebody comes and trust them with whatever, whether that's information, whether that's property, they break the trust. These are the three unfortunate qualities of a hypocrite. We have to really assess our lives and see if we fall under that. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions the story of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam in Surah Al-Baqarah, and the creation of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Then I'm about to create my ambassador, my representative, my viceroy on earth. And the angels, obviously, they say that, Ya Allah, we are constantly in your worship, we are doing tasbih of yours, and we are obedient to all of your commandments and orders. Then what is the need for this kind of creation that will come into this world, and they will shed one another's blood, and they'll be eager to outdo one another and in wrong. So then these guys will cause fitna and fasad and corruption on the world. In the word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun, I know what you don't know. And if I may just digress for a second, look at the situation, the condition of the world, and look at the part of the world where we live in. Alhamdulillah, we're in the West. We are living in conditions that are completely, or at least partially, if not completely, against our deen. Everything is basically upside down. When we practice deen, it seems like we're strangers. It seems like it's something strange. So Alhamdulillah, despite all the odds and all the opposition, we are able to practice our deen. So this is definitely something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is definitely proud of us. It comes in a hadith that in Allah yubahi bihul malaika, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees his servants being obedient despite all odds and oppositions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is proud of them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he boasts about them to the angels. So this is what is meant when he says inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun, that I know which you don't know, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew that there will be us coming later on, and people like us who have gone in the have come in the past, and they have obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have tried their best to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on and so forth. And also the story of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and how he was what has happened, how Iblis came to him, and he tricked him into eating from the forbidden fruit. And obviously what happened after that is that he was he was stripped of his clothes of Jannah, him and his wife Hawa alayhi salam, and they were sent onto this earth. This was in the hikmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was what it was supposed to be, and this is what happened, and here we are today on this earth, alhamdulillah. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called him to Mount Tur, and in the interval while he was gone, he left his brother Harun alayhi salatu wasalam to be prophet, taking care of the people, Bani Israel. However, Bani Israel was, mashallah, tabarakallah, there was this guy among them, his name was Samiri, and his thing was that he was very intelligent actually. And what he did was that he had seen that every time Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam used to come, and when his horse used to leave under the hoof of the horse's legs and feet, the part that the hoof of the horse would touch, and that part of the earth will blossom and will produce greenery. So he understood that this is something great. Keeping in mind when Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was put in a basket by his mother and put into the river, and he ended up at the courtyard of Fir'aun, and he grew up there. There was another Musa at that time that was that the mother of that Musa had left him in the jungle, right? And that baby survived because of the nurturing that was done by none other than Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam. And Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam used to come, and in some narrations it comes that he used to give one finger to this baby to suckle, and he would suckle and there would be honey, and the other finger would be milk, and that's how he would gain strength and grow up, and so on and so forth. But guess what? That Musa happens to become this person who had established the worship of the calf, because when Musa was gone to Mount Tur, this Samiri, this Musa, this Samiri, his name is Samiri, he was what he did is that he took that earth, because Bani Israel had seen other people worship idols and stuff, so he wanted to create something similar. So what he did is that he took that earth, and actually he built a calf first, and then he put this earth inside of it, as if this was the means of it becoming animated, lively. It looked alive, and it started moving, and so on and so forth. So people saw this, and this was a strange phenomena, and this was something of a miracle for them. So they started worshipping this calf in the interval when Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was gone. So the poet says very beautifully, فَمُوسَى الَّذِي رَبَّ جِبْرِيلُ صَارَ كَافِرُ وَمُوسَى الَّذِي رَبَّ فِرْعَوْنُ صَارَ مُرْسَلُ. That the Musa that Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam took care of, and helped him grow up, and help him become a young man and a strong man, and so on and so forth. He did his upbringing. The one who did his upbringing was Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam. But unfortunately, even in that scenario, the person ended up being a kafir and a person who started taking people away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Musa that was brought up by the one who claimed divinity himself, which was Fir'aun. He said, Ana rabbukum al-a'la. He claimed to be divine, he claimed to be Allah, na'udhu billah, he claimed to be God. So Musa alayhi salam grew up in his house and he became a Muslim. So this is something that the poet points out. He says, he was brought up by Fir'aun, yet he became a mursal, he became a prophet, and the one who was brought up by Jibreel, he became a kafir. Anyhow, moving forward, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam also, who had passed every single trial and test given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was the paragon of sacrifice. He was just up there. He took every single commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fulfilled to its best. That's how he did. Like, we know he left his wife in the desert and with his little son, and he went to Jerusalem, so on. So okay, all right, okay, sacrifice, no problem. Imagine when it came to slaughter. Inni ara fil manami anni adbahuka fandur madha tara. I was just touching on this a little bit, that he was asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to test him. This was a test of life and death. He was asked to sacrifice his own son, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Yet he took it, he went and spoke about it with his son, and they discussed it as a family, and he said, Ya batif'al ma tu'mar, oh my dear father, do as you've been commanded to do. Don't think twice, don't think about me, go ahead, put me under the sword, put me under the knife, and take care of the business. Subhanallah. And Ibrahim ﷺ was about to do that, and he was in the process of doing that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obviously did not want this sacrifice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to see what Ibrahim ﷺ does, and he did, and he succeeded, and subhanallah, the rest is history, obviously. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the sacrifices of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. He mentions how he was the one who constructed the Kaaba along with his son Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, and Ibrahim alayhi salam made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise a prophet from amongst his progeny who would be a guide for mankind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted this dua by raising Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a messenger to the universe, via whom guidance spread throughout the world. So obviously we know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in the progeny of from Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, from Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. So this was first para. Now starting of the second para, in the beginning Allah SWT speaks about the Qibla, the direction of Qibla. Before, in the beginning days of Islam, beginning times of prayer, in the first stages, the Muslims used to face Jerusalem and they used to pray towards the direction of Baitul Maqdis. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed that commandment to face the Qibla later on, about a few months later, and this whole thing takes place in the beginning of second juz, the second chapter. سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَ النَّاسِ مَا وَلَّاهُمْ عَنْ قِبْلَتِهِمُ الَّتِي كَانُوا عَلَيْهَا. This whole thing, if inshallah, we can't go into details of any of these topics, unfortunately. We're just going to go and take main points and discuss them, inshallah, like very briefly, so that we can all kind of get reminded of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in this book of His, in this kalam of His, in these words of His, and inshallah, so that we can also kind of be enlightened and informed, and inshallah put it into practice into our lives, inshallah. So he speaks about that, and then also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about all those things that are not permissible for a Muslim, for a believer to consume. إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةَ وَالدَّمَ وَلَحْمَ الْخِنْزِيرِ وَمَا أُهِلَّ بِهِ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ وَمَا أُهِلَّ بِهِ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about maita wa dama, the carrying dead animals, blood, swine, and pigs, and so on and so forth, that these are the things that we're not supposed to eat and consume. We're not supposed to consume those animals that were not slaughtered with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These were the few points that are mentioned in the first Tarawih usually. So we have covered about 1 juz and a quarter right now, and inshallah we'll leave it at this for today. And tomorrow, inshallah, we'll try to do the second, we'll try to combine the second Tarawih and the third Tarawih together, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us safe. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us happy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us productive during this month of Ramadan. I know it's like none other, but isolation is something good. Seclusion is something good. We get the time to ponder and kind of figure things out and go over things, collect our thoughts and actually make something happen and something productive. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to be productive in this month of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this month of Ramadan the best Ramadan in our lives that we remember, and also it comes in handy on the Day of Judgment and becomes a witness for us, not against us. And having said that, we end it today, inshallah. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.